Hello, good morning. This is where we're starting off today. Today's garden planting day. I am in a rush because I am ill-prepared for life, but it's garden planting day. It's garden making day. We're doing it all in one. We have a set amount of time to do it. We're gonna get it done. Let's go. Alright, let's try this again now that I'm a little less stressed that I'm where I need to be. It is garden planting day, and I'm standing funny. Alright, let's try this. Take two. I'm here at the garden, and today is garden planting day. I have no plan. I'm winging this. Sometimes it's better just to wing it. So I'm going to start by cleaning out some of these beds. As you can see, the greenhouse is up. I bet you didn't think you were going to see this view again. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Let's get started because I don't have a lot of time. I tried to make myself sit down and map out a plan for this garden for months. The reality of life is I don't have a lot of time to devote to the garden anymore. Someday I'll get back to that, but it's not my reality anymore. The garden is very important to me. It's important to my soul. It's important to my happiness. It's important to food production. But a lot has changed, and it's difficult to bring you solely garden-focused content. It's difficult to find time to edit these videos, and in no way am I complaining. I love making these videos. I love sharing. I love inspiring people. What I want to remind you is that life has different seasons, and you can't always give as much as you gave in past seasons in the current season that you're in. So I'm taking the pressure off. I'm going to enjoy the time I have in this garden. I'm going to grow food and make it as beautiful as I can in the time allotted. The garden has taught me that I needed to shift focus. The garden has taught me that the garden could not be my focus. I started seedlings in my apartment and they all failed miserably. I know I can grow seedlings. I've done it before. You've seen me do it before. You've seen me grow hundreds of seedlings. Although I don't always believe that everything happens for a reason, sometimes things really do happen for a reason. I was taught that my focus needs to be elsewhere. It needs to be on finding where I want to be. It needs to be on cultivating relationships with friends and family. It needs to be on cultivating a relationship with myself. Really learning who I am. Really delving into things I enjoy outside of the garden. It's taught me that responsibility takes up a lot of time. I've always been a responsible person, but now even more weight is on my shoulders. As I created this garden, I was a little stressed in this video. I have a very short amount of time to do it, and I wanted to make it perfect. But then I look back on previous gardens, and I remember my very first garden. It was very humble. It was only about 6 feet by 8 feet, a single bed. But that's where I fell in love with gardening. That anything larger comes from humble beginnings. So as I humble myself into this new chapter, in this tiny little garden that's not exactly what I want, I'm reminded that the garden will teach you things if you just listen. Alright, that's a wrap on day 1 of gardening. We got all the panels up, a bunch of the compost in, and I'm going to come back tomorrow and finish up and plant because I have to go to a very special little boy's birthday party. My middle nephew is turning 7 today, so I'm going to go do that and you'll see me again tomorrow. Good morning, friends. Welcome to the garden. Yesterday, my dad and my mom helped me put in all this, and today is planting day. I have a bunch of, no good, have a bunch of plants ready to go in the ground. I did not grow these. My seedlings did not work out well. Just wasn't the year for it. It's just not the stage of life I'm in, and I have to accept that, but that's fine. I have these beautiful plants bought from a local nursery. A little tired this morning, if you can tell by my appearance, but I'm very excited to start planting, get some things in the ground, and then once everything is planted, I'll start working on beautification, if you will. It's been kind of a marathon to get everything into the ground, which is just my first priority. Just start growing and then make it pretty as the summer goes on. It's a little space, it's littler, it's different than I thought I was going to do, but things can always change. I don't know how many seasons I'm going to garden here. I'm just happy to be growing. I should touch on my new growing zone. So this property is actually a different growing zone than where I was before. I was 6A, or was between 6A, 6B. This is zone 5. This is at a much higher elevation, and it gets a little cooler here, so the season is a little bit shorter. It's a little bit delayed. It is Memorial Day weekend, which in this area, it is law to plant your garden Memorial Day weekend. That's usually, the frosts are usually gone. They do still dip a little bit, but looking into this next week, we have highs in the 80s and lows in the 50s, which is, the lows is what matters. You want consistent lows in the 50s for your plants. Things like tomatoes and peppers, these tropical little princesses, they don't like cold, and 50 at night is about the coldest they want, otherwise they will be stunted. That being said, if your lows dip, you can always cover up with frost cloth. I won't be here tonight to do it. If it dips really low, I can have my parents throw some frost cloth over it. Otherwise, you just let them fare the way that they fare, and hope for the best. Gardening is a gamble, but it is the only gambling I'm willing to do in my life. These plants are beautiful, ready to get them in the ground, and I am just happy to be in the garden again. I've always used the garden as a source of solitude. Usually I always did it alone, and I liked it that way. I'm having to learn that community, whether that be in the form of strangers or your family or friends, is also necessary. I couldn't do this alone. I don't have the time to drive the 45 minutes back and forth to the garden to make sure it's watered. I couldn't physically put up these panels by myself. I couldn't go get the mulch myself because I don't have the correct vehicle. So I'm endlessly grateful for the help that I have received, and I'm learning that it really does take a village. I'm someone who often has a hard time accepting help. 1, I'm stubborn. 2, I like to do things alone. But the garden has taught me that sometimes you need the help that's offered to you. I know that this garden is not going to produce as much as my previous gardens did. I've needed to humble myself to that fact and realize that that's probably actually a good thing. I don't have the time or space to dedicate to food preservation like I once did. I would be lying to you if I said that I didn't hope that one day I would be able to get back to that capacity. I truly enjoy that work. I truly enjoy growing my own food, preserving it, and putting it up for the winter time. And I will get back to that. It might not be in a year, it might not be in 2 years, it might not be in 10 years. I'm really having to step back and be realistic with myself in the current capacities that I have. You hear the birds? Alright, that is pretty much a wrap on planting the spring summer garden. I got everything in today. The only thing I didn't do was plant the green stalks that I have over here, and I'm actually going to leave that, I believe, to my mom. Have her put whatever she wants in them. Probably just greens or some herbs. But the garden is not done, I will tell you that much. Step 3 is beautification. I still have to lay down the mulch over top of this cardboard and mulch the walkways in the back there with the raised beds. But everything, there's seeds tucked in everywhere. All the plant starts are in, so it's been a lot of work done over the last 2 days. But that's usually how it goes. It's a marathon, and then you just cross your fingers and hope everything grows the way you want it to. I'm headed out. It's odd. I will say it's very strange not spending the entire day in a garden like I used to. But it's a new life, and I'm learning what that looks like. That's that.